come here and say thank you to everybody. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank you, everybody. That's what Elvis is saying. Say thank you. What's this? What's that up there? Oh, I don't know. He's still a bit camera shy, isn't he? Yeah. Say thank you. Thank you. Say thank you. Yeah, there we go. So, 2 years and 1,000 subscribers. Over 400 videos. Wow, that's quite a lot, isn't it? I mean, not compared to some, but it's pretty good going for our modest ambitions. You're quite modest, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Book Time with Elvis, and I basically just want to say thank you. Thank you so very much. I am so bowled over by having reached the 1,000 subscriber mark. After 2 years and over 400 videos, it feels wonderful. It feels wonderful that 1,000 of you are crazy enough to watch me. And you're still here. How lovely is that? So I thought about doing a Q&A, but most of you know pretty much everything about me, and of course at any time you want to know anything, you can leave it in the comments. I will be having a live tomorrow with my good friend Sean D. Stanfast, so if there is anything you want to ask, then by all means leave them in the comments of this video and I can answer them tomorrow. But I thought in the meantime it might be fun, although rather awkward for me, to perhaps go back and look at my BookTube newbie tag that I created 2 years ago, and I've tried to do a reaction video. I apologize, it's a bit jittery. I don't know why. Perhaps my computer's not good enough in doing this, but I think it's watchable. I hope I fixed any of the sound issues, but it's probably, I think it's a bit of fun, a bit of fun to look at how things have changed or not changed, perhaps, how the hair's got even crazier over 2 years and that kind of thing. So, sit back, relax, watch, and I hope enjoy. Okay, I guess this is going to be pretty awkward, but let's give it a go. Welcome to the latest edition of Book Time with Elvis. In today's video, I'm going to do the newbie tag that was kindly recommended to me by Linda. It's almost like a kind of hostage situation or something. It's terrible, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it's so dark. Still, it was probably a better background maybe in some respects, but I still end up with a big blank space. This flat really isn't good for showing off books. The book lady, I will link to her channel below, and I took the newbie tag from Brenda C's BookTube channel, which of course I will also link below. So there are several questions. Yeah, I mean, maybe the hair's a bit better. Got newer glasses, I suppose, but yeah, I think I've kind of improved with age. That I should answer. By the way, I should say, of course, my name is Mark. I did mention that. Yeah, you should probably say that, Mark. Dear, oh dear. Amateur hour. Before in an earlier introductory video, but I suppose I should get into the habit maybe of saying it more than once. I've also mentioned before that I'm an English teacher, and I've been living for the past 9 years in a small town in the... Gosh, I'm thinking, does he ever get to the point? Good thing I've become more concise since I've been doing this a while. Czech Republic, and I really enjoy it here. It's a really nice place. The only negative that I feel at the moment, actually, is looking at all of your wonderful and interesting channels, is that we all seem to have very large and extensive libraries. I did have a rather large collection of books myself, fortunately back in the UK. However, I think it was, when was it, in September, my parents, who I left all my stuff
with moved house. They downsized, and as of course I hadn't.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure nobody really wanted to hear all this. Oh gosh, and it just brings back painful memories of all those lost books.
The books have basically been left there for the past 8 or 9 years. They asked me if they wouldn't mind getting rid of some of them. So, as painful as it was, I had to have a massive pile of books. Of course, most of them found their way into various charity shops, which of course is a good thing, really.
Yeah, say that like you mean it, Mark.
I suppose as they weren't here with me, they weren't serving a practical purpose. They did save quite a few of them, and over time they started sending them to me.
In the end, they didn't save that many of them.
By boxes. However, there are still more in storage back in the UK, but I have to wait now, I think, until some of the issues related to Brexit have been cleared up, so I can have them shipped out here without having to pay any kind of duty or tax. Because
Well, those issues have not been resolved, so 2 years on, still in the same situation, and unfortunately, I think there were not as many books in storage as I thought there were. So, oh well.
shipping them will be expensive enough without having to pay anything extra on top of it. So certainly, I have bookcase and library envy from much of you, but perhaps in time I can rebuild my collection. I like a very eclectic mix of books. I don't know how many of them you can actually see behind me, but they're from all sorts of different subjects. So most of the books I will probably review for now will be in electronic format because, given my situation, it's much easier to carry them around. And
Yeah, well, I haven't really stuck to that. I've kind of done a lot of rebuilding over the past 2 years, which of course is a good thing. Of course, though I'm not really looking forward to when the time comes to move house and have to move the books again.
have them here on the Kindle or on the tablet. So anyway, let's dive right in. So first question: why did
Thank goodness, about time.
you start this channel? Well, it's something I always thought about. The situation that's arisen at the moment has given me the time to be able to do it. Last March, when we went through the first lockdown here in the Czech Republic, I started podcasting, and I really enjoyed that. And it was a bit of a mishmash of different topics. I didn't have any real focus. I do plan to go back to that soon. I've got a few more ideas, but
I still have the ideas, and I still haven't really gone back to it. Although I did quite like it as a medium. I enjoy this too, but there was something nice about podcasting. I really want to get my videos to the point where I can just, make them podcasts as well. That would be quite nice.
thought I'd give this booktubing a go. So we went into another strong lockdown starting last week. So again, I've got more time on my hands, and I started looking at a few channels on YouTube, and came across some really fun and interesting ones. I must say, I think it's a really lovely community. I'm really excited to be part of it, and I hope.
Yeah, I still feel the same. It is a lovely community, and I'm very grateful to be part of it. That's for sure.
To take part in some of these buddy reads and group reads and things like that. It sounds very exciting already.
Yeah, if only I just stuck to the take part in some of them rather than trying to take part in all of them.
I've had a few, discussions on, little messages on the comment section between a few people who seem to have similar interests to myself. So basically, it's a combination of wanting to talk about books because um, many people here do read, of course, but we would probably read in different languages. They would read in Czech, I read in English, and there are not too many people around me who would read maybe the same kind of books that I do, especially as most of my students are school children, and unfortunately, not too many of them read. And if they do read, they tend.
I have to say, more of them read than I thought at the time, and certainly I've learned over the last couple of years. Maybe COVID had something to do with it, but certainly many more of them read than I thought. And I think my reason for starting the channel is kind of the same. It still holds up. And I find it interesting how many people have started their channels purely because they want people to talk about books with. So it just shows that, in real life, there seem to be so many people in BookTube and who watch BookTube, and yet the people who make the videos find it hard to find people in real life to actually talk about the books with.
Tend to lie about it and say that they don't, which is a shame. So it's a combination of having the time and the desire to want to discuss books and things to do with books and reading that I thought I will give this a go. Nothing to lose, right, and everything to gain. So, I'm not bothered about. Yeah, I mean, obviously it would be nice to have a few subscribers, of course, but I'm not too bothered about it. It's more of a hobby for me, and it'd just be nice to meet some like-minded people. Number two, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? Well, I hope my style's easygoing, so I hope that in itself will be a bit fun, and it won't be too boring to listen to. I think also that um, I've been quite lucky in my life to be able to travel a lot. I mean, I am British by birth, but I've only spent 12 of my 40 years in Britain.
Gosh, any opportunity to talk more and more about my life. Incorrigible, Mark. Come on.
Most of my life's been abroad, so I've had exposure to many cultures, and through that, different types of literature and reading and writing. So it's given me really wide taste in books, and I hope I will be able to bring a few, uh, new books and things to the discussion that maybe some of you haven't heard of before, and that would be great because I think it's wonderful if we can exchange, knowledge and recommendations and these kind of things.
Yeah, I hope to some degree I've been able to achieve that because I do feel I don't read a lot of super mainstream stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it just doesn't appeal to me generally. I think there's such a wealth of uh, older work that just waiting to be discovered, and I'm really enjoying my journey of discovery through that. And I hope those of you who watch also enjoy it.
Why do you love reading? I love reading because I think maybe it's cliche, but I think it's a way of kind of opening up the world. You get to experience different lives, if you like, or different points of view, or different cultures. You can go traveling, for example, without having to leave home. You can travel back in time. You can travel back into the future. You can go into space. You can delve into other people's wildest imaginations, and I think that's just wonderful. I couldn't imagine a world without books and a world without being able to read. I think I love music.
Yeah, I still agree with myself there. I have to say, I do think reading is the most fantastic of hobbies, and gives you the opportunity to live so many lives. You need never be bored if you have a book. So
As well, but I think if I had to trade off, I would probably lose the music over the ability to read books. So I absolutely love it. Um, it's it's just something. There's something magical about it. I'm sorry if that sounds kind of a standard answer, but that's really how I feel. What book or series got you into reading? That's question number five. Um, well, I can't remember. I mean, there were a few books when I was a child, obviously that stick with me. Um, I remember being a small kid, and there were obviously some picture books and things that my parents would read to me. Um, I was also quite lucky. For example, I remember they would read to me every night, and even when my father went on business trips, he would actually record onto cassette the stories and books and stuff that we would have read if he was at home. So that was a really nice thing. Particular books, well, certainly a particular author. I would say Roald Dahl had a huge impact on my interest in reading. Uh,
So very topical then, and I suppose you can understand by that answer my reaction to the news about him recently and the you know editing of his works, and probably why my reaction was maybe more with my heart than my head. But yeah, I mean, I have very strong nostalgic feelings for Roald Dahl and his books, and people connected with them.
I was extremely lucky. My parents, my grandmother, they would always say, they might deny me perhaps, the latest Lego or the latest GI Joe or something like that. But
To be fair, they didn't really deny me anything, and as you can see, probably certainly some things they should have. I mean, they tried to deny me sweets, but I always managed to beg, sufficiently. I think my mother said I always use the phrase, but I need it, I need it. Oh dear. Well, it is what it is,
but they always said they would never deny me books.
and they didn't.
So I used to love picking up the old Osborne or Usborne books, maybe they are now, that would like show you, inside the human body or the Roman Empire or something like that. They were fascinating. Another book that got me, I would say, into reading was, and it still remains probably to this day, my all-time favorite book, which is Treasure Island. Um, I had a friend of my mother's, her husband, um, used to read Treasure Island to me every time we visited them, and we would sit and talk about it, and then we'd watch the old 1950 Disney film with, oh gosh, is it Bobby Driscoll, or is it, or I can't remember, but certainly Robert Newton as Long John Silver, fantastic. And so that book definitely played a big part in my um, love of reading. And I think what happened really is when my parents would, stop reading, and I wanted them to continue, I would get frustrated. So it was a case of being able, if I could read, I could continue the story on my own without having to wait for someone to read it to.
You're probably wondering why Three Men in a Boat wasn't mentioned. I am a little bit myself, but I think I'm just trying to say that the books that got me into reading, and of course I didn't read um, Three Men in a Boat when I was young, like when I was a child. As Treasure Island I did, and I always say those two, are my all-time favorites, and I'm very defensive of them, protective of them rather. Of course, now I have to say that Les Miserables has joined those ranks. So
And certainly the first book I ever read, I remember this very well, read in one sitting. I was probably about 9. I mean, proper book. 9 years old. Was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I remember staying up uh, probably soon about 2 o'clock in the morning, finishing that off, and it was yeah. I remember to this day, doing that. And it was, yeah, fantastic. But never read all of them though. I couldn't get into some of the other ones, but Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe certainly stays with me. Next question, number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? Um, yeah, well, I mean, I've got a few already, definitely. I mean, as I said before, it's a wonderful community. I mean, if I ask anybody questions, it would be related probably to what I think is the theme or focus of the channel they've got. Yeah. So recently, I sent a message to uh, Bill Ruttenberg, I think, at Ruttenberg's library. Um,
sorry, Ben, if you're watching. Rutenberg. Oh dear.
and Revenant Reads as well, asking them about recommendations on American history and the Civil War, the American Civil War.
Which I hope to get to finally as part of Historathon 2023, so that would be good.
Because I love history as well, but I'm very very ignorant of that particular subject. I've studied, of course, the English Civil War, which certainly doesn't get anything like the amount of airtime as the American one. But of course, it's fighting for very different values. But I'd like to learn more about these things, so I ask people questions if they can recommend a particular starting point in this era or historical situation. And then probably I would ask some questions maybe about how things work here, because I am very new. I mean, as I said earlier, Linda Book Lady was kind enough to recommend that I do this newbie tag, and then I see there are all sorts of tags, and I don't really have much of an idea how they work. So probably I'll be up.
Yeah, it didn't take me long though. I think I made quite a few tags in those first few weeks of being on BookTube, but I still don't know really how it all works, as you can probably tell.
Asking people from time to time for some advice and recommendations. So that's the kind of thing that I would ask. Lastly, number 7, what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Honestly, for me, so far the hardest challenge was doing the first video, and once I did it, I made a few mistakes, of course. I mean, I completely forgot to introduce myself in the first one. I'm still making that kind of mistake, but I think making that first video is the hardest challenge.
I have to say, anyone who's watching this is thinking of doing, making their own channel or making their own BookTube videos. It's true. I think it's the hardest thing, but you just have to jump in and do it. I mean, you can see, this is not the best, but people are so kind and friendly the way they responded and commented on it. It encourages you, and look at the result now. Not much difference, but still.
Because I've had this, energetic buzz in me since I did it, and I can't wait to do the next one and the next one and the next one. I don't.
That buzz can drop off a little bit, I think, because as it becomes a more normal part of your life, and other things get in the way. I think I had quite a prodigious output at the beginning. I was probably releasing sometimes 2 or 3 videos a day. I was in step with someone else who started at the same time as me, Michael K. Vaughan, for example. But he kept that momentum up. I didn't, and there it is.
I don't want to, saturate my channel straight away with all these new things, but I'm bursting with ideas and things to talk about. I really can't wait to get going, really. So yeah, I would say at the moment that's been the hardest thing for me to overcome, was just getting started. Obviously being very nervous. I don't have any idea how people will react, how kind people might be. Luckily, so far they've been really nice, and it's been a wonderful experience. And as I say, I feel just really excited. I'm at the start of this, and I'm really looking forward to being kind of a good member of this community. So those are my newbie tag answers. I hope they've been of interest to you, and you'll keep in touch with me through the channel. And I look forward certainly to hearing from more of you. And well, basically, I wish you a good evening, because it's evening here at the moment. So I'll probably be heading off to bed in a bit, though. Hasn't worked out well since I started doing this, because I find myself binge watching other people's channels, and it's quite addictive. It really is. So yeah, there we go. But thank you very much for taking the time to watch me, and I look forward, as I say, very much to meeting more of you and reading with some of you, and all that kind of stuff. So stay safe and healthy, and see you soon. All the best. Thanks.
Gosh, that was pretty awkward, but I have to say, I think a lot of what I said still remains true for how I feel about BookTube, even 2 years on. Of course, I have 2 years of experience in doing it. I don't have 1 second of regret. And I would say to all of you out there who are thinking of starting a BookTube channel, just do it. You've got nothing to lose. It's a wonderful community. You'll make some wonderful friends. And, it's just, yeah, it's been certainly one of the highlights of my life over the last 2 years. So once again, I thank you all so much for your support, and look forward to the next 2 years, the next maybe 1,000 subscribers, and the next 400 videos or so. So thanks ever so much, really. Elvis and I both thank you, and have a great day. See you all soon. Bye bye.